The Frames Per Second podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Frame Per Second podcast. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Mike. With me, I have Spike.
What up?
Got Rod.
What up, man?
Got Ken.
Hola.
And we got Nick. Anytime we do some virtual shit, we try to drag Nick ass into these shit. So what's going on, Nick?
I'm good. Glad to be here as always, man.
All right. So today we are talking about, this is actually a anniversary film, right? I forget how many years it was, though. Does anybody
50.
remember? 50 years. 50 years. We're covering Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver. So I'm going to go around the room, give a light, and I mean light, short opinion of if you liked it or not, but also throw in there if this is your first time watching it. So I'm going to let guest go first, even though he's not really a guest, but he's sort of a guest. Nick, you go ahead and go first.
I'm going to be honest, first time watching it.
Interesting.
Even though I knew most about the movie, it's a no for me, dog.
Oh,
it's a no for I'll go into it, but it's a no for me, dog.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right. Rod just went away. So while he's fixing his video, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Spike. Spike, was this your first time seeing it, and did you like it?
First time watching it, and I did. I was not mad at this at all. I understand the hype around it after watching it. I didn't believe it going into it, but after I watched it, I get why it was so popular when it was.
All right. And Ken, first time watching it, and did you like it?
No, it's not my first time watching it. I've watched it before, and I do enjoy the movie. I do like it.
Okay. And Rod is back. Rod, first time watching it, and did you like it?
Nah, this isn't my first time watching it. Yeah, this movie's great.
All right. So this is definitely not my first time watching it. I've seen this movie many, many, many times. It's one of my favorite Scorsese films. I think Robert De Niro absolutely destroyed this role. It's one of the best acting performances of all time. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down the movie. I tried to condense these notes, but, we're not going to let Rod keep us here all night. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So we are in New York and we meet Travis Bickle, played by Robert De Niro. He's a Vietnam vet who's applying for a job as a nighttime taxi driver. He lives alone. He keeps a diary about how disgusting he thinks the city is. And he visits porn theaters to occupy his mind. What are y'all's first thoughts about Travis? I want to start with you, Nick, since you didn't like this film.
I like the way this film was shot, and it has New York as a character, because I think that's me one of the highlights of the film. But Travis as a character was boring to me. But I also know I'm looking at under the guise of 2026 and not in 1976. So I get to see I've seen the architect of this character in other films that I've watched, but as far as me watching this movie, as a newcomer, yeah, it took me literally to the third act to really even get into the film.
Spike, what about you?
To one of Nick's points, I'd seen this architect in other films. I just finished binging You, and this dude was like a 1979 Joe Goldberg. Of course, this was You is more today time, but it was the same premise, same base was there. So that kind of shaped my mind for what I was about to get into, because I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm wondering how they're going to do this in the 70s versus me watching the 2026 version kind of this, or 25 or whenever that came out. So I was intrigued immediately.
By the way, for anybody that has video, I just noticed Spike's hat and I hate it.
So, it said nice butt.
No, I didn't think it said nice butt. I knew exactly what it meant, what it said the second I saw it. I can't believe you're wearing that. Let's move on.
I play golf, man.
I know you do, but damn. Ken, what did you think of Travis Bickle?
I think they did a good job early on, kind of giving you just enough background information on his past, with the Vietnam War thing, his ability to not sleep, and how just over time, lack of sleep can really mess with you. And you combine that with, his previous war experience. I don't know if he experienced combat or anything, but, things can go left pretty quickly. So he just seemed like he didn't fit in. And you can see that with his first interaction, with the guy that was doing the hiring. So it was clear that he was a loner and just trying to readapt to the world.
Rod, did you get something different?
Yeah, just pretty much the same as Ken. I did like how they had like the noir style, but just in like the 70s or whatever, of him narrating and everything, and just him experiencing insomnia. So that's why he took the cab job to begin with. So no, I mean I like how I started off with him, like with that character. I think they started off strong with him.
Yeah, I agree. I think Travis Bickle is a very interesting character. I do agree and understand Nick and Spike's point about, you've seen this character before, but it came after this, obviously. But I think the most interesting thing about Travis is I assume he did see combat. I don't think it ever actually says, but we see those marks on his back later on. And judging by the way he's acting, I assume he's seen some kind of combat. But I like that he's just a walking contradiction, because he's like, the city is disgusting. It's full of whores and filth, but he constantly spends his nights at a porn theater. Like it's a regular ass movie theater. Like dude has no sense of what is quote unquote normal at this point. So I think the way they introduce him is very interesting, but Travis becomes infatuated with Betsy, who's played by Sybil Shepherd, who works for Senator Charles Palantine. And after being a bit of a stalker, he goes into the office and asks her out on a date. What did y'all think about his first date? Anybody can take this.
This one I knew he was crazy. Like I thought it in the beginning, but then when he took her to the porn shit on the first date and thought it was
that wasn't the first date.
That second date.
Oh, he just walked in there and was talking to her?
No, that was at the diner. They had a diner date.
Oh yeah, and they had that weird talk. Well, I'll let y'all go then. I ain't get nothing from that talk. Other than the only thing I got from it is I didn't know Sybil Shepherd used to be that bad.
For real.
Back in the day.
Hey, that's the hey.
Yeah.
I was like, hold up,
Lou. I had to look up all these because I like these are a lot of famous people who had great careers started. So of course I'm looking at the who's who, and I'm like, hold on, that can't be the same. I've seen that motherfucker before. That's not her.
That's the same thing, bro.
When I seen that, I was like, okay, let me see how this goes. This confirmed that women like bad boys. That's what, for generations and generations. Because she looked at that nigga knowing he crazy, but she was like, I just never seen nobody like you before. You're just a walking contradiction. And he ain't know how to take that, but I knew. But as long as she kept talking to him, he fucked with it. So that's all I took from that scene.
He didn't know what contradiction meant.
It didn't seem like it.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I didn't take him as a bad boy per se in this. He was just like kind of confident. Like he built up the confidence to come talk to her, and just kind of just awkwardly confident, I guess is the best way to say it. And yeah, she was intrigued by that. I get why she was intrigued. So yeah, he didn't seem crazy to me in that moment. He seemed like he was just really honest. You know how people that kind of just talk straight, just no filler, no nothing. That's just kind of how I took him to be, and I think she seemed like she respected that about him.
The breakdown he did of her coworker didn't sound crazy to you?
Yeah.
Well, he just was. That's what I'm saying. Somebody like straight shooters are like, yo, I don't like him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He just met him.
Right. He didn't even know that.
He didn't even know him. Oh no.
Yeah.
But he assumed, he's like, I bet he don't even know what did he say? I bet he doesn't even know something. And she agreed, like, yeah, he doesn't know that. He's like, yeah, you can just tell.
He's a coworker. Who cares?
Huh?
He's a coworker. Who cares if he knows anything about her?
And we see him protect her early on when she noticed he was stalking her.
Mm-hmm. He clearly likes her too, as well. And he was definitely jealous of old boy. And there was this edge to him that she liked, because Nick, you mentioned the stalking point. She saw him just staring at them earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in that time, probably any damn time, honestly, is scary. You got somebody just out your window just looking at you, then the guy walk out and he just peel off like that. Like that's not right. So then he comes up to you and then he
Damn, Spike.
And I took it that wasn't his first time. I just wanted to comment on what he said. Did it seem like his first time?
You talking about you interrupted or him watching?
You're stupid.
I didn't think about it until now, about whether that was his first time or not. I always took it as it was, but if it wasn't, then that adds more credence to that sort of bad boy edge. But him just coming in being as direct as he is, that does give that sort of like bad boy, sort of thing. Because the other guy was clearly a good guy, but she didn't want him.
Okay. Well, the main thing that I took from that conversation was what I just said a minute ago about the walking contradiction. She said how he seems like a prophet and a pusher. And she said that he seems like he's part truth, part fiction. I do think that she saw a bad edge with this dude. There's no way she saw this motherfucker staring at her through a taxi window and was like, oh yeah, he's normal. I think what it was is she had not experienced someone like him. Mm-hmm. She was used to these button-up ties, basically lames. And here comes this guy that's a little bit on the edge, and she's like, oh, I want to see what this is about. But yeah, so what did y'all think of the conversation that he had in the taxi cab with Senator Palantine, which was immediately followed up by his interaction with a very young prostitute played by a very young Jodie Foster? So what did y'all think of this part?
That was crazy.
I thought the taxi drive with the politician being close to New York, I understand what he meant by the filth, because that's been a problem for, I guess, for 50 years. Because it is New York City is a city built on top of a trash can, essentially. But I was more curious. I was more curious to understand the politicians, Mike and whoever else, you all are more fans of the film, like his understanding of what Travis was trying to say. Or did he even get it?
He got it. But I'll go last. I'll let y'all, whoever wants to take that up.
No, I was just saying that I thought the Jodie Foster thing was crazy. I think she was actually 12 in this film.
I think she's
playing a prostitute.
She's between 12 and 14. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was crazy, and you can just kind of tell. So that's always been kind of weird to me, seeing her in that role, playing that as an actual young girl. As far as the politician stuff, it always kind of confused me, because on one hand, it seems like, what's his name, Palatine? Is it Palatine?
Yeah, Palatine.
Palatine or whatever. Seems like he had the same mission as Travis, but for whatever reason, at some point, he didn't see it that way.
He being Travis, or he being the senator, didn't see it that
Travis
way.
Didn't see it that way.
Oh, we'll definitely get to that. But
right.
Ken or Spike, did you take anything that you can throw at Nick to make him understand what the senator was doing?
I thought he was just trying to get his vote.
Well, I think he was bullshitting. I think, he was confronted with a potential voter, and Travis was sitting there kind of, speaking glowingly to him. I do have a question. Who said that they didn't want to take the cab? I kept trying to identify the voices.
That's the assistant. Palantine wanted to take the cab because Palantine is a very typical Democrat, pretending to be one of the people. I'm taking cabs around, and if you notice, the second he got out of the cab, who was there? Photo op. That's all it was about. He wanted to be able to get out of the cab and have people taking pictures like he's one of the, politicians just like us,
Yeah,
kind of thing. So I'm with Ken. I definitely think Palantine was bullshitting. He was listening. He didn't disagree with Travis, but I think what we're supposed to take from that is this is more of Travis being delusional about thinking he knows what's best for the city. There's filth and there's scum, but then when he's confronted with the filth and the scum, with the pimp trying to drag this fucking preteen prostitute out of the truck or out of his cab, he does nothing at all. So I've always found that to be interesting, but I'm gonna start with you, Spike. You got a face.
No, I don't come up till later, but I do want to remember that you said that later.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with you because you already kind of alluded to this. The second date. This is where he takes her to a porn theater. What did you think of this?
It was weird, and I think they did a good job of framing it in the sense of where his mental space was and where reality was, as you mentioned in the beginning, Mike, because he thought this was normal. Like, he couldn't believe that she wanted to get up and walk out of this. He thought this was like a regular, everyday experience. So the fact that he was surprised by her reaction made me more interested in where this was going.
What about you, Nick?
I thought these scenes was hilarious when he was in the in the theater, especially when we see him going the first time where he buying popcorn and candy, but he trying to holler at the stewardess behind her. She was like, "Do I need to get my manager?" He was like, "Nah, you ain't got to do all that." And then
Give me some annihilators.
she was like, "Nigga, we got what we got." I thought that was funny, but also the date itself. I'm surprised she even allowed herself to go inside, knowing what she already knew about the place. And to the point where I was confident that he knew what he was talking about, because he made it seem like, oh no, it's just some sex in there, but it's actually a film. So I'm watching this shit and I see the subtitles. I'm like, these motherfuckers is just fucking. What is he talking about? So I was like, oh, he's crazy. He's insane. And she just figured it out too. She had to. I was like, girl, I wouldn't even sat down. She sat down and everything. I'm like, nigga, that's probably the most cum-filled theater in the city. And Travis, like you mentioned, talking about all that filth, that nigga was lounging around like it was his living room in that damn theater. So I was like, those scenes were like hilarious. The fact that he was just so out of it to even understand that that's not a good first date or official first date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super wild. I'm with you on, like, I don't even understand like why she knew. I mean, once you get in front of the theater, you know where you're going at this point. I don't understand like why she even sat down in this moment. You know what this is, but she did get up very quickly once the first flashes hit or whatever. But I did like how she didn't back down out of it. I thought she was just gonna kind of give him another chance, but no, she was out of there. She was just like, nah, your ass is off. Something ain't right. She wasn't trying to hit shit.
I thought the only reason she gave him a chance because she was intrigued by him, like y'all were saying. And then he explained to her, like Nick said, well, wait, it ain't just that. But then when she seen it, she was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's what I've always taken too, that she gave him a shot because she was trying to see if, okay, maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe this is a regular movie. But when she saw, I mean, and I do, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I do think it was a quote regular movie with a bunch of sex, because that's how a lot of those weirdo foreign films are. It's not just fucking. Like, there is some weird ass artsy story there, but she was just like, this feels awkward that I'm on a second date with this dude and he took me to a movie where it's a bunch of sex. That's why when she gets outside, she's like, this was about as subtle as you just saying, let's fuck.
Because and to your point, Mike, I saw the subtitles. I heard the narration in the background. I'm like, is this a movie or is this like I didn't know what to call it. All I know is that some white woman was in a goddamn gangbang, and it was nothing but niggas in the theater.
You said nothing. And last time you went to a theater like this, was it weird like this, or were you more comfortable?
I can't remember. It's been a minute. Do they still even have those around?
Unfortunately, I don't think they do, man. I've only been to one of those once, because you have to experience it, man. You have to.
Do you?
And
Is it in the South? Was it in the South, or like were you in Cali or?
We were on tour. And
They definitely still got those. They got some here in Atlanta.
See, there you go. See, look, Spike judging.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
rubbing his face too. Like, yeah, I know. I can recommend you a couple of them. What
I'll text you. I'll text you when we get done.
One of them called Nice Putt.
Exactly.
That's why I got this hat.
Always got a hole in one in that
Three holes in one.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
Jesus.
That's one of the films.
God.
She was hot though, man. She didn't even want the record. She didn't want shit. She was like, all right, now I got 2 copies.
Right.
She did say that. She was like,
Can
can you please take my gift? She's like, nigga, I already got it at home. Go.
Yep.
She was not trying to hear it, bro.
I don't blame her. I think this is, like one of y'all said, this is a beautiful woman wanting a little bit of a bad boy, but she has standards at the end of the day. And Travis completely bypassed those standards by taking her to a place like that. You also have to remember she works for the senator who is, I think he's trying to run for president.
That's what they say. That's what he says. Like, I hope he becomes president.
He was presidential candidate. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not a place that she can be seen at. So there's so many layers to why she was mad. But she completely stops talking to Travis. She's like, fuck this dude, even though he's calling her over and over again. So it's one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. So he storms into the office where he's confronted by her coworker. So I'm gonna start with you, Ken. What did you think of what happens when he goes in there?
It was very bold and brash of him, and I thought she was going to be like terrified of him, walking in there, cursing everybody out like that, et cetera, et cetera. And it was definitely the beginning of his mental decline, because every single approach, everything he's tried, wasn't being returned, and he realized the error of his ways, and he apologized over and over again. But she wasn't trying to hear it. But he was in there cussing everybody out, and old boy tried to come over and talk shit. Like, it's like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro,
you're not ready for this.
Hey, Albert Brooks,
get out of that motherfucker, bro.
Albert Brooks ain't know what to do when that nigga hit that kung fu action.
Every time I see this movie, that shit cracks me up. He's like, that motherfucker not bad.
Hey, that shit was funny, bro. He hit. I don't know. This is like one of the first quotes that I was here, but it's always like, how the white man will be like, "Get your goddamn hands up." Get your goddamn hands. He kept saying that too, bro.
Oh man. The funniest part, I hate to laugh at this, but the funniest part, and I don't even know if y'all caught it, but when he finally walks out the door, there's a woman that's standing by the door, and you hear, and she just falls over.
He hit her with the dog.
And I don't know if that was like a mistake, like if that really accidentally happened, but that
I feel like
kills me.
Yeah, I see that every time too. Like that absolutely. I don't think that was in the script. It couldn't have been. Like, it was just too real. I know exactly what you're talking about. That shit was too real.
Oh, that shit.
And I know I shouldn't have laughed at this either, but kid, when he was cussing her out afterwards, he was like, "Who the fuck don't call back after somebody call you? You going to hell? You and everybody going to hell." I was like, "Oh, this nigga crazy."
If she didn't think you was crazy before then, she'd know you crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the narration before that is really interesting because he's talking and he says that he thinks he has stomach cancer, which is completely random. So it's just showing this like increased paranoia that Travis gets. And when he goes in there and he tells her, he's like, "You're just like the rest of them. You're in a hell and you're going to die just like everybody else." It's like, God damn. It goes from that. And I'm sure the movie wasn't trying to make this funny. God damn. What the fuck? What the hell? You got Chewbacca behind your chair? What the fuck was that?
Damn werewolf.
God damn. Did anybody hear that?
Nah, I did. I'm used to that. Lou be having stomach issues.
God damn. Let's move on. Shit. All right. So this part, I remember the very first few times I watched this movie, this scene didn't really hit until I got much older and saw why it was important. But he gives a ride to a guy who's spying on his cheating wife. Does anybody know who that guy was played by?
Scorsese?
There you go. So he's played by Scorsese himself. So Nick, since you're already talking, what did you think about this scene?
I was like, damn, Scorsese was young as hell in this movie. And I knew as soon as he said cheating, he upset as a black man. That's messing with it. So I knew that. But like you said, Mike, I didn't really know how to take that scene. I don't know if this was more of like Travis getting justification for how he feels and what he will eventually do later on in the movie. Mm-hmm. Or this is just more of an example of what Travis keeps talking about as far as the filth in this city. But either way, I thought that scene was just very much like, I don't know. I guess to me, it was like answering some question that I don't know if I knew exactly what it was yet.
Anybody else?
No, I don't really have an idea about it outside of him just being upset that his girl's with some nigger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. But I haven't really thought about it all that much. It just seemed like it definitely felt like it was oddly placed. But yeah, I don't know.
I think that was go ahead, Spike.
I seen something afterwards that made it make more sense as I watched a recap of the movie. And they were talking about
they cheat.
I said cheating.
I asked what you thought, not what some motherfucker.
I didn't think anything about it when I seen it, which is why I went to go look and see what it meant. I was like, why is this random ass shit in here? But I won't spoil it since you don't want to know, Mike.
Well, I haven't seen this YouTube. We'll go to you last because I want to see if they say something similar to what I say or what Rod is about to say.
It's my yeah. Y'all are still broken up on my end, so I'm sorry. It's like really, it's hard. It's hard to hear y'all. But yeah. So yeah, I just think it was just like a trigger for him to kind of like set him off. He was already spiraling and already thinking about like harming people, and I think when he saw that, it was something that made him feel like maybe he could do something for the greater good or something like that, because he felt like he was justified in what he was going to do. So that's what I always felt like that scene played a part on his mental breakdown.
Yeah. So the way I've always seen this, not always, but since I've been a little bit older, is when I was younger watching the film, I never really got the impression that Travis was racist. But Travis is fucking racist. And the way you realize this is the way he sees people. So we're seeing the movie through Travis's eyes. And if you watch the way the movie is pointing out black people, they're always doing something fucking weird. Even the guy that he works with, that he's cool with, he's like pointing the gun, pow, pow, which you can assume he's not really doing that because that's just fucking weird. Who sits around like doing the gun fingers over and over again? It's bizarre. Mm-hmm. There's a scene where he's walking down the street. I can't remember if it was before or after this part, but he sees this black guy.
After. Mm-hmm.
After the guy's walking down the street and he's just bugging out. And the way the camera is like shaking when he's walking, it's giving you this impression that this is how Travis sees black people. And we can definitely get to it and y'all know what scene I'm talking about later on when he gets to the convenience store. But What I got from this scene is pretty much what Rod just alluded to, which is this is the turning point for Travis where he sees he's not crazy. Because this guy in the back seat is like, my wife's up there cheating with this nigger. I got this gun. I'm going to fucking kill her. I'm going to kill her. I'm going to put the gun to her face. I'm going to blow her face off. I'm going to put it in her pussy and I'm going to blow her pussy up. And he says to Travis, do you think I'm sick? And then the camera shows Travis's face. And Travis is like, not really, bro. Nah, I don't really think you're sick. This is Travis getting that confirmation that I'm not the only one that thinks this way. He already got it from Senator Palantine because Palantine was like, yeah, I kind of feel you. Thank you for your opinion. Now, we as the audience see that Palantine is fucking bullshitting him. But to Travis, Palantine is the real deal, which is why he becomes so obsessed with him, putting his fucking his political posters in his house. But what we also get is this is the moment that Travis realizes that, you know what, I need to be a vigilante because I need to save this city. So that's what I've always found interesting about this scene.
So as you were saying that, Mike, I was going to ask, like, why the fuck is the representation in this film as far as the black actors or the black characters, like, so stupid? Like, it was like, I was like, Martin Scorsese, was he intentional with that? Because it came off very offensive and for no reason. Because like a lot of Travis's interactions aren't with black people, but they all around the city because it's New York City. So there is representation of New York City and the diversity of it. But like the way they're portrayed and how they're acting, which is weird. So I'm glad you touched on that. And I didn't think he was racist because until you mention it. Because when he talked about like early in the movie when he's getting the cab and stuff, and he said the cab boss, whatever, says, where do you want to go? Like what areas do you want to deal with? He was like, I'll go anywhere, it don't matter. Mm-hmm. And then even in his narration, he talks about I go to Harlem, I go this. I'm like, oh, okay. So he was like, I even pick up what do you call them? Moolies or something.
Moolies, I think you call them spooks.
Spooks.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so yeah, he's using horrible terminology, but it is the 70s.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's willing to pick up anybody. That's what I was like. So I was like, what is this dude? I'm like, I can't really figure out his character just yet.
So you got to think about the reason Travis takes his job is because his mind won't stop wandering at night for him to sleep. So he wants to be able to go and be out driving and working at all hours of the night. You're not going to go to like the nicer parts of New York and get someone to pick up at 2:00 in the morning. You are going to get that in the more dangerous parts of town. So I think that, and also Travis, whether or not he wants to admit it, he's attracted to the filthy parts of the city because he is this walking contradiction. If you look at his house, he lives in a fucking pigsty. His house is disgusting. But remember in that first date, he brings up that whole thing about the sign that says, I want to...
What organized or something.
Deorganized, and he thinks it's like a joke or whatever. And he even has that sign in his house, but his house is a fucking mess. Travis he's completely mixed up in the brain. And the reason I don't think that the movie necessarily showed black people in a bad light is because you do get diversity. You get the guy that he works with who's an honest guy. He's an honest guy that's just working to make a living. But Travis sees him weird. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like he's acting weird towards anybody else, but Travis sees it. And he even borrows money from the guy. So it's like this weird version of racism that Travis has, where he's like, you know, I'm surrounded by these type of people, but there's like maybe one or two good ones. But then he goes to the bad parts of town and you see pimps, pushers, drug addicts, drug dealers. So Travis is looking at these people like these are scum.
That makes sense because like there was that scene with the woman and the little kid on the street. She was chasing them or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? But okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely a reflection of the neighborhoods and certain neighborhoods of New York. So I think it was being honest in that. And you know, it wasn't a lot of black people, but I don't know if I didn't feel the offensive part of it the way you did, Nick. And because there weren't a lot in there. And I think because they were in certain areas, I just kind of took it for what it was. And then you've also see like white people doing the similar things as well. The thing about him pointing the gun, Mike, I just always took that as like foreshadowing when he called him a killer. And I also took that as him kind of poking fun at him or knowing that he was in the military and in Vietnam. And I think that's where he was just kind of referring to that and just kind of poking fun at him for that sort of thing. And then the foreshadowing of what was to come.
And the offense that I took, and I know Lou, you want to speak on this too. The offense I saw was like the way the black people portrayed, like even the cab colleague he had, it seemed like he was black and lazy at his job because he didn't really say shit. He was just like sitting around.
He's sitting around with the other white guys that were there.
Yeah. But he just gave off a non-complimentary aloofness about him and his job. The obviously, like you mentioned, the pushers and the drug dealers, but like those are what you would see in the streets. But then when we get to the scene later on, it's like the thievery, the criminal, the gangs. Like it felt like it was just like showing stuff that white people would assume that's how black people were in the 70s or like out and about in the streets.
So we'll definitely tackle that. But if you also look at the fact that guy was a thief, sure. He tried to rob a convenience store with a gun, sure. But what is the worst crime of this movie? The fact that somebody is pimping out a fucking 12, 13-year-old girl. Mm-hmm. And who's that being done by? White people. Mm-hmm. So this is, I feel like, what Tarantino wishes he could do, is capture the racism without being racist himself. I think Scorsese actually does it well because he's like, look, this is how white people in this time saw black people. But when you really dig into shit, the people fucking committing the worst atrocities are white people. You know, even when you look at the dude that's in the back of the car talking about his wife cheating, she's cheating with a black guy. But what's this guy talking about doing? He's talking about killing her, putting a gun in her vagina and shooting her.
Yeah, that was nuts.
So Scorsese is so fucking good at this where he's like, look, these motherfuckers are racist. I'm going to show you that these people do exist. But the worst motherfuckers in this movie, the white people.
What you got, Lou?
Oh, God.
The pimp was originally cast as a black man in a production house. Oh, he was written in the script as a black man. The production house made them change it. And he was written as a racist as well, Travis. And they made them change it because they didn't want to riot outside. So that helped me understand that scene in him being a racist. So.
I've never heard that. I don't know who this YouTuber is that you saw.
I've seen it in two places.
Not on some FIFO shit. No,
I've seen it in two places. The pimp was originally, they got the famous dude who played the pimp. Now they got him last minute because they thought it would be too controversial for the pimp to be black.
But everybody else was white.
No, they changed that in the script too. But you said we'll get to that later.
So everybody was black.
All the villains.
That's what
when you say everybody. Are you talking about like the pimp? Not the guy that you're talking about, but the pimp, and then everybody associated with him was black in the original script.
That's interesting because when you've listened to Scorsese talk about this film, that's not the impression that he gave at all. Huh, interesting.
One last point before you move on. I will say, kid, I don't know if you laughed at the cabbies and they stories about their customers when cuz got on the midgets. He was like, yeah, they always like to feel taller. I was like,
did he say like to pick them up or something?
Yeah. I was like, these motherfuckers pieces of shit. They ain't be talking about anything, boy.
Well, you know, midgets didn't have rights back then, so or little people, sorry, didn't have rights back then. Spike left to go watch some more of his little YouTube video.
He gonna try to drop knowledge on you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, if what Spike is saying is true, then that's really interesting to me. Actually,
it is.
That's the feeling that I got. I was like, bro, like what you were saying, Lou, as far as like the portrayal of black people in this film.
Yeah.
Like if they would have went with that original script, obviously I'm like, oh, this is like too heavy-handed.
But
That's
you
why
know
the
what?
production house asked him to change it.
If that is true, I still don't know that it all the way changes the point of it. Changes my point that I said a few minutes ago, but I don't know that it necessarily changes the point about Scorsese and the way he casted or the way he wrote Travis as being or depicted Travis as being racist. But I would actually be interested to see how this would have hit if the pimp and everyone surrounding him was black. I assume they still had Jodie Foster, so his horrors were still white.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure Travis would have seen that as the ultimate fucking issue. You're a black pimp,
Facts,
pimping out young white women. That probably would have been a bit too heavy, yeah. So I'm glad they changed that. But so after this, Travis meets up with Easy Andy and buys a gun. Then he goes back and he builds all kinds of contraptions to assist with like quick drawing the guns. And he also starts a really rigorous workout routine and diet. So what's going on with him in this scene? This is not the one y'all want to get to, but just the whole workout and diet thing. What's going on with him here?
This nigga bought an arsenal. Did you say gun as in singular?
Well, he goes to him to buy a gun, but then I think he was just like, well, shit, I'll take all of these motherfuckers.
I want all these money. I was like,
Yeah.
God damn, this motherfucker about to start a war. I always like these scenes or whatever, just him, building a contraption, and you just really see how at this point tapping into like his, war experience and things like that. And he's about to be like a vigilante at this point. I think we get some dialogue of him narrating at this point as well. So yeah, and then after that, that's when he starts to go try to do surveillance on the security detail for the politician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm always interested in like arms dealers and the people that they deal with. So I feel like this is kind of like a side story of like the customers of the motherfuckers who always arm the streets, and how somehow these guns end up on the streets, and this is the guy who actually does it. So the way he talks about these guns and how he tries to connect with his clients, like he was trying to connect with Travis a little bit too as well. Like I always find those scenes interesting. So like this was very like a standout scene for me, as far as like seeing Travis like light up when he sees all these guns and all this shit, and like his imagination goes crazy as far as what he has to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he's a Vietnam vet, so he definitely would know how to use it all. One of the things that I found interesting was that the guy was white, and he's selling all these guns and to these people. So because I think he's in sales or something like that. So I was like, here this guy walking in suit, you would look at him and be just unassuming, just another white guy walking through the city of New York, getting out of a cab, and he's packed with fucking weapons, bro, in a fucking briefcase. Yep. About to sell them to a guy who has intentions to do horrible things with him, and he's just gonna go about his day. And then after that, the other part that I always thought was interesting was he was like, shit, when he bought all of them, he was like, well, shit, what? You want drugs? I got everything you need, bro. I got ketamine, I got crack cocaine, 8-ball. I got syrup, and that shit ain't even invented.
Like, since you finna wild out, you might as well party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that, Ken.
I was wondering what this was preparing. Him buying all them guns was preparing us for. I was wondering what the payoff for that was going to be. That's what that scene made me think.
Yeah, so I think what's going on with him here is that he's actually preparing to be a vigilante. He's, he changes his diet because if y'all remember before this, he was eating fucking cereal and he was pouring like liquor on it and then a bunch of syrup. I mean, not syrup, sugar. He was living like a black crackhead in the fucking, because I ain't never seen white people pour fucking alcohol on cornflakes. I've seen some brothers do that, unfortunately. So
no way. In real life?
In real life?
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I kind of wanted to taste it, but I didn't. I'm kind of curious. They had the milk in there already. That's what was wild to me. They had the milk in there already, and then they put Jim Beam over it, and I was like, "What on already sweet cornflakes?" I'm like, that's
honestly,
wild.
getting drunk while eating cereal does sound interesting.
It does. It does.
Because, like, you know, I mean, because how much, Rod, don't look at me like that. Because it ain't that much different when people put Jim Beam in coffee. Like, it's just
It's
like,
a lot different.
How?
It's a lot. That's dairy.
It's a breakfast cereal.
Who mixes alcohol with dairy?
It's breakfast.
That's insane.
That's for everybody. That's a White Russian. That's a Kahlua, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all motherfuckers don't drink.
You talking about a child's breakfast?
Listen, you motherfuckers eat the blood of Christ. I don't want to hear nothing from you. You ain't tell me shit. You motherfuckers over there drinking blood and shit in church. You can't make fun of me for putting a little liquor on my cornflakes.
The thing that was egregious, Mike, was the sugar, because that motherfucker had literally a personal sized box of sugar and sprinkle it all like it was like, I don't know.
That scene reminds me of that part in fucking House Party when they were making the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Remember that shit? He was like, look at all that sugar. She's like, girl, that's good. That's exactly what I was thinking. He was pouring all that fucking sugar. But
watching Soul Train.
Man, Travis didn't fuck with black people, but he fucked with black people deep down.
He did.
So after this, we get the scene where he's kind of talking to the Secret Service guard at the Senator Palantine rally. But following this, when he goes back home, we have the most famous scene of the entire film. This is where he is practicing of what he's going to do to a nigger in the mirror, bruh. He's like, I wish a nigger would. What y'all think of this scene?
Yeah, iconic, man. You talking to me?
Go ahead, Rod.
Talking to me?
Talking to me.
I don't see nobody else in here, motherfucker. This shit is so hard, bro.
And then when he was just doing this shit, like
that was the funniest thing to me, Rod. Was when he was doing. He kept. He was like, "Hold on, I can't." And I like how he acted like he was like, "Okay, I'll let it slide." And he's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Bro, this nigga nuts."
Yeah, we literally seen him
Did he
going
jump on the
insane.
bed and do that shit? Oh yeah, he was practicing how he was gonna get the knife and the gun out and shit on the bed and shit like that.
Yeah.
Hey, he was good though. He made that little contraption in his arm out of I don't know what.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I feel like too, like we started like gradually cutting his hair off. I feel like that's a military thing too. Where his hair was getting lower and to the point where he just did a full mohawk. And I'm sure it was crazy white boys back in the military that had them fucking hairstyle. So I think he was reverting back to like a time when he was in that state.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know this, but I was that ad lib? Did he just make all that shit up?
I don't know. That's Mike. He researched it.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I'm actually going to look that up.
He probably did. I mean, they were probably.
It was good. Yeah,
it was probably like a little bit, but then De Niro just kind of went off the rails with it. But this is go ahead.
Well, I heard Scorsese doesn't do a lot of improv stuff. He likes to stick straight to his scripts. He don't like people doing improv. So it probably was written that way.
Maybe.
That's what I've heard about Scorsese. I don't know if he was always like that, but I know later on Scorsese, he like, do not mess up my script. Even like the biggest name, like especially with Departed. He like I heard. I think Leonardo was talking about it, and Matt Damon, and they were talking about he doesn't like you to stray away from his script.
Jack Nicholson's part was improvised, and it's famously known that he improvised that whole thing
with the dildo and shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was gonna let you finish, but Spike don't do you like that, Rob.
I didn't say nothing. Nick did.
But I was
gonna let him live.
My bad, Spike. Nick interrupted.
They got both of us, Blue. Don't do that. But that dildo scene with Jack Nicholson when he was, I forgot who he was talking to, his girl or something like that, or somebody. They said that wasn't in the script at all.
But Rod's not crazy. I've heard that too. That Scorsese does not like people to kind of venture off. But I'm sure he made an exception because it's fucking Jack Nicholson. But also, this is one of his first films. This is like his third or fourth film. So he probably and he didn't write it. Somebody else wrote the script.
Yep.
So he probably was just like, I don't really care that much. And I'm sure it also had to do with the fact that this scene was so good. It seemed incredibly natural. Like when I watch this scene, this really does feel like some crazy ass white man that thinks he's going to go take over New York. So I don't know.
I will say before you move on, Mike, that scene with the Secret Service agent was hilarious. He was like, "Yo, if you want to sign up, just give me your address, and we'll send you the information." I was like, "Okay, we gonna see how crazy." I was like, "I don't know how crazy we gonna see him." I was like, "But if he give him his real name and shit, he's a dumbass." But he did. So I was like, "Yeah." So
yeah, he didn't. But I think okay. So you guys think the Secret Service agent was just taking notes and be aware to look out for him later. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think he was completely bullshit and he was not going to get that man a job. He thought he was fucking weird. So he was just like, "Oh yeah, man. Yeah, sure. What's your address? Oh, okay, cool." And he's probably like, "Okay, I'm gonna have somebody investigate this motherfucker if he gave me the right address."
And when he got the wrong one, he definitely probably put him on high alert, to look out for him.
Mm-hmm. So the next scene is a very controversial scene. And this is the scene at the convenience store. I'll start with you, Rod. What did you think of this scene?
Yeah, this scene sucked. I didn't necessarily like this scene. I understand why it was controversial, and this kind of lends to Spike saying that about the pimps being black. I like looking at that. I could, man, it does make sense that they had to probably change it up to where it wasn't so much violence against black people. But it's still, because it was written a certain way, you still kind of felt it. But yeah, I always hated this. And then the convenience store guy kicking him or beating him, hitting him afterwards. He's clearly dead. So yeah, that always rubbed me the wrong way. But I never liked that scene.
Spike, what you think?
I thought they were going to start heading down towards him being violent against black people, similar to Rod's thing. And I was like, did Stu have to be black? And then you beat the shit out of him too after you clearly shot him. And then even had him robbing the store. It goes to what Nick said earlier and what Rod just said of how they were portraying black people in this film. This is when I really started to notice it. And that's what made me look it up at the end. I was like, it's kind of racist. This feels kind of racist, but I can't really put my finger on it. So
interesting. Nick.
Yeah, I mean, he just shoots him without any hesitation. I think this is the first kill that we see him do in the whole film. And of course, it's against black people. And then as an audience member, if I wasn't black, people would say that's justified because he was robbing the convenience store. And not only was he robbing the convenience store, he's robbing his friend, because De Niro comes in and says, "Hey, how you doing?" He was, the guy greets him and everything. So you seem like they're familiar with each other. So this is like a local store. So it seems like, again, De Niro is doing the right thing, Mm-hmm. But then like the beating at the end, it was just, and like not only the beating at the end, but the convenience store owner letting him go and say like, "Just get out of here. You did your job. You did a good thing. I'm gonna protect you." You know what I'm saying? It's just, it was just like, all right, what I got to see how this film ends, because at this point I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm feeling things I shouldn't feel, because this is such a classic film. Wondering why people look at it in high regard, because this is a piece of shit scene.
I would love to know what black people thought, those that watched it back in the 70s. Times have changed a lot now, and we kind of look at things differently. I didn't take it as racist or anything like that. I think when you're in a bad neighborhood in that way, there are reasons why they're there, because of systemic racism and all the other stuff that you can add on. So there could be a larger conversation that we have about that. But for me, this was the first act of violence that I saw towards a black person. And the reaction by the owner was violent in that way, because he mentioned that this was the fourth or fifth time it happened that month or that year or something like that. So over the top, yes, but he validated it with the reasons why he was frustrated. And him killing, for me, was a sign of him finally getting a chance to act out in violence in a way in his mind that was justified, and probably setting up like this weird sort of test run to get to the Palatine that he was going to kill, because he was going to kill a white guy. Later on, that was his main objective, was to kill a white guy who was running for president or whatever. So that's why I never really looked at the racist elements of it, when I watched it.
Yeah, this scene is definitely a hard one to swallow. I don't think the movie itself is racist for this scene. I definitely think that Travis is supposed to be implied that he is racist, because he sees the guy robbing the store. He could have easily just been like, all right, man, put your gun down, whatever. He was dying to kill somebody. Travis could not wait to kill someone.
He shot him in the face.
The second he saw the dude, when the dude turned around, bow, immediately. Is it racist that the shop owner then hit him with a bat after he was dead? I don't know if that's racist. If a motherfucker came in my store, pulled a gun on me, I might fucking whoop his ass a little bit after he was dead too. I don't give a fuck if he's
take
black,
that with you. Take that with you to hell.
That's right. I want you to go to hell remembering what happened in my motherfucking store. God damn it. The scene just looked weird to me. The way the dude was just like slumped over, and the fact that he like propped him up and set him up against the counter before hitting him. And it's such a weirdly filmed scene that it always just makes me uncomfortable from like a racist standpoint, because it feels like the fucking store owner, that motherfucker, it felt like he enjoyed hitting that black man while he was dead and on the ground like that. So
yeah, I'll give it that. It felt real.
It definitely felt real, but that's always to me what made damn.
No, I just agreeing. The way it was shot, it looked like a documentary. Mike, you just stopped in the middle of your sentence.
No, I heard you start talking, and I wanted you to get it out. I'm the host, man, so y'all are more important than me, so just get it out.
No, I'm just agreeing with you and Rod that it felt like a documentary, that scene, that shot. That's why it looked real. Mm-hmm. I'm going to mute myself.
No, don't mute yourself. No, we need
you know what I do?
More than mine.
I do agree with you, Mike, that he was definitely itching to kill someone. And, this guy just happened to give him an opportunity. Because at this point, he's already gone. He got a briefcase full of weapons, and he's ready to go kill the president. And he's a former Vietnam vet. I would assume that he's struggling to sleep because he PTSD or whatever, and just having dreams and nightmares and stuff like that. So he's an insomniac. And he's probably still not sleeping anymore. His girlfriend left him, so he is absolute gone. And here comes this guy who's acting in this violent way with a gun, robbing this place. He was like, I finally got my shot.
Yep.
I didn't mean that in that way, but yeah, I finally got a chance, to kill somebody, and he took it.
But I also look at it like, again, I tried a lot to not have a 2026 gaze and go back to 76. And I'm thinking like, at that time in this specific part of the country, was this a needed thing to push and maybe not the again, I'm black, so of course I'm biased, but like using a black person in that way to justify not only murder, but justify the crime that goes on in that city is just kind of like, all right, that's kind of very low hanging fruit. And again, I'm sure black people at that time, like you said, Mike, still had an issue with it. Just like black people today would probably have an issue with that scene like that. That's what I was thinking. I was just like, okay, like what is the overall purpose in the story with this moving forward. Of course, we're seeing a man become more violent as the movie goes along, but I'm like, damn, like you just killing, like, again, going back to Lou's, what his point of like the original script, there was supposed to be a lot of black death because no white man got killed in this film or in the original script. But
he was going to kill a white man.
He was going to, but he didn't.
Because he couldn't get to him. But
I know, but I'm saying, but because he couldn't do that, he kills a lot of black people. That's my thing. In the original script. Now, obviously, in the movie, it's different. But based off of what Lou was saying, if I'm going off of that as fact, then that's like, okay, that makes the movie come off different.
I do think that there's a difference between making a movie that's racist and making a racist character. Mm-hmm. I do think that Travis Bickle is supposed to be racist. I think that the subtlety of the whole thing is that, you know, if you know how racism works, you can tell he's racist by the way he's looking at black people. But I never really got the impression that the filmmakers themselves were being racist in the way that they portrayed black people. Travis is clearly going to a certain part of town. And in that certain part of town, these things happen. Mm-hmm. So him going to this part of town, going to this type of store, and eventually having a black person rob it, I think that kind of makes sense. It's still uncomfortable as fuck to watch, and it still makes my stomach hurt every time I see it. But I also kind of think that might be the point. We're supposed to feel uncomfortable in a way that Travis doesn't. Travis doesn't feel uncomfortable about what he did. He just doesn't want the cops to come get him.
Mm-hmm. Because he still wants to kill the other guy. And Nick, you said earlier, the city of New York is a character too. So that's why I never really applied like this whole sort of racial outlook on it, because I just looked at it as just part of the city. That's that way by everything else, by just racist America, right?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
And I'm not arguing that the film is like the filmmakers are racist. What I'm saying is that, just like, you know, Rod, I always try to shout you out with, I haven't thought about this, so like when certain black characters go through those black tropes or those black, you know, situations that are stereotypical, it's just, I'm like, was that necessary? Could this been another ethnicity? Could this been another character portrayal instead of using black people to me as low-hanging fruit? That's all I'm saying, is that based off of what I watched and some of the commentary Lou made about what he watched from others' recap, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, like I can see, I'm glad they went in this direction, because it was already tough going through that scene, especially during that time period. If they went even heavy-handed on it, then I can see why other people would be like, okay, this is a racist film.
I don't think this filmmaking in it was racist. I think that the person who wrote the script was writing it racist. I think Scorsese did a good job in taking that out of it and making it a more classic, palatable film, though.
I feel you, Spike. I don't even know if I would agree that the person who wrote the script would have been viewed as racist. Because Travis, in my opinion, Travis was intentionally going to these parts of town. It would be like I can't even give like a comparison, because it's exactly what it is. Travis was going to these parts of town where it was predominantly black people, poor black people. And he immediately was like, this is scum, this is filth, et cetera, et cetera. And it's
to
not
that point.
No, go ahead.
To that point, he's calling, we hear his commentary, being that he's specifically in black neighborhoods and referring to New York this way, I think that makes it even more kind of like racist.
Travis, though, I don't think that makes the person that wrote it racist.
Wrote it that way.
Because it's, in my opinion, it's not like they made Travis seem like a good guy. I don't think you're supposed to watch this, but even though some weird white boys do, I don't think you're supposed to watch this film and look at Travis like he's a sympathetic character or a hero.
I bet it's some incels did do.
100%.
I bet this is, I wouldn't million. This is what I thought when I watched this. I bet it's some white boys out here that love this fucking movie.
With this ending, I could easily see how like some people could say he's like what we now know as like the anti-hero.
Yes, he's Bruce Wayne, he's Batman, but it's like, no, I don't think that the filmmakers meant for it to be portrayed that way. Travis throughout this film is supposed to be fucked up.
Yeah.
A fucked up character. He's not supposed to be a good guy. He hates women. He hates black people. He hates poor people. He hates dirty people. The most interesting thing about Travis is he hates what he is. A filthy, dirty, nasty, scummy person.
He sounds like a 2026 incel.
100%, Spike.
That's exactly what he sounds like. Yeah.
And to your point, Mike, if I was to write a slave master, I'm going to write him in the way that he's saying these things and having these thoughts and moving like this. Yeah. So,
but it's interesting, Nick, is that they take this angle of racism, and even for 1976, they make it more subtle. They could have made Travis just running around calling everybody nigger, aka what Tarantino would do, but instead they're just like, look, he's a subtle racist. He doesn't like black people, but he's not doing it in a traditional way.
Yeah.
Rod got something to say to defend his king. What's up, man?
Nah, I don't know. It's just funny what y'all pick and choose.
I knew that's what he was thinking.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Rob?
Because they shot a black man in the face in this film.
And if he said nigger 180 times before that, there would be a Tarantino film. If Tarantino did this, every single black person would be.
I'd rather be. Go ahead, say what you gonna say, Rod.
I'd rather be called a nigga 50 times than be shot in the face.
And that is the problem with black Tarantino fans.
But Tarantino was doing both, Mike.
Exactly. Ding, ding, ding.
What?
A black man got shot in the fucking dick. What is the main thing that white people talk about with black people? Oh, big old dick. They shoot him in the fucking dick, Rod. And you were like, yep, I love this guy.
On what?
This my man. That shitty ass movie you made me watch.
Oh, hey, Floyd.
We're not about to talk about Tarantino again.
You just tried. You just tried. I'm moving on. Rod, what was going on with Travis at Senator Palatine's rally? What was he thinking there? Oh shit! Sorry, Rod. I'm sorry. I skipped a part, and I know you're gonna call me out on it. So hold on. He keeps having these run-ins with the underage prostitute named Iris.
Yes.
Who, again, played by Jodie Foster. What did you think of the meetup that he has with her? And do you think that this is where Drake got his whole steez from with trying to save strippers from control and underage women at the same time? Was Travis Bickle the original Drake?
Jesus.
I'm asking a question, Spike, and I just want to know, man. What you think,
He was
Ron?
trying to save her, man. He was just trying to save her. He didn't have any ill intention, and we saw that at the end of the movie. I think that is the bright spot about him. Is that he saw basically like a damsel in distress, even though she was adamant about the fact that she was fine. He was just like, look, you're young, you don't know, you're not, trust me, or whatnot. So I did think that was actually a bright spot. As much as she was trying to advance on him, he continued to deny to the point where he killed folks for it. So yeah, I do like that about the Travis character, that he was adamant about getting her to safety.
I didn't think he had good intentions.
Really?
I didn't think that I did not take that way at all. I thought he ain't you putting in this much work to get this little girl who's already out prostituting. Like, I didn't think that he was gonna be Captain Save a Hoe and like take her to her family and friends and be like, you're okay now. He don't even strike me as that type of person. Like I know he's a vigilante, but he just seems more violent, sinister, and dark to me in his character. And I think that her senses, or as a woman kicked in. Well, not a woman, but a girl kicked in. And it's like, man, get away from me. You're weird. So
I think his intentions were sincere, but I think they were for different reasons. I think it was because maybe it was his way of making up for what happened with Betsy. That's how I looked at it. And this shit was so fucked up with her. It was like, oh, well, I can try to make amends, with this character, with Iris.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Nick, did you get something different?
I thought that because Mike, you mentioned earlier that we see the interaction between him and her in the cab earlier on. I didn't know how he was able to track her down or how he was able to follow up with her, but I thought that, to somewhat of Ken's point, that he was trying to redeem himself somehow, some way. Because this is after he failed to. This is before that. But like, I just felt like he was just trying to redeem himself and be like, okay, I at least did this. I at least took this person out of a bad predicament and brought justice. But it did kind of also feel like, to Lou's point, there was something weird about that interaction still. Like, it wasn't as innocent. Like Lou, we watched Mayor of Kingstown. This reminded me of Iris, like between Mike and Iris, like a character who is an anti-hero, but he has a good heart and he actually goes out of his way to help people, at least innocent people. This just felt like he wanted to have an excuse to kill someone, and this is the best reason for it. Like, anybody who does something to a child, that's like the number one thing. Like, pedophiles are always hated, no matter, even if you're in jail. So I think this is just more of a universal sin that he could justify killing.
So I think all of these are interesting takes. Some of them are takes that I never thought of. But what I've always gotten from this is, I just had to look it up and see what it was called. But there's this thing about the Madonna whore dichotomy that men still have, but men see women in two ways: either as a Madonna, meaning not like the singer, but like the actual Madonna, like a pure, perfect woman, and a whore. A lot of men don't see a gray area. So he sees Iris as, you know, she's obviously the whore, but he wants to turn her into the Madonna, aka Betsy, right? He sees Betsy as this perfect, angelic woman. So I do agree with Ken about he's sort of trying to make up because he wasn't able to save Betsy. I do agree with Rod, though. I do think his motives are sincere. I do think that he was going to save her and take her back to her house, because he tells her earlier when they're having that conversation, he's like, you need to go home. You need to go back to your parents. I think the interesting thing about this is Travis has no real say over what's going on with his life. He's crazy. He has to do these odd nighttime jobs because he can't sleep. He can't calm his brain down. If you look at the Iris character and the Betsy character, both of them are being controlled by men. He looks at it like Iris is being controlled by the pimp, aka Sport, and Betsy is being controlled by Senator Palpatine, Palantine. So he looks at this as he's trying to save them. So that takes us into the next scene. I know you got to run, Spike. I'm trying to get through this.
I can go to 7:45.
Okay, we'll definitely be done by then.
15 minutes.
We'll definitely be done by then. This goes into the next scene, Rod, where Travis goes to Senator Palantine's rally. So what was going on there?
Yeah, so this is what I was saying in the beginning. This part has always confused me because I thought, but I guess y'all kind of explained it earlier on, where he's like a fake politician and he's not living up to his words or whatever. So I always was wondering, like, why is he trying to kill the man that said he's trying to clean up the streets if they both are trying to clean up the streets? So that I always was confused by in the movie. But I mean, I think after y'all was talking about it earlier on in this review, I kind of understand it now that he also saw him as part of the problem as far as, like, you know, saying one thing and not being a man of your word and cleaning up the streets. So yeah, I'm just having a revelation on that, and I'm not even sure if that's still the case, to be quite honest.
Nick, what you got?
I find it because, again, I've seen movies after this film that I understand the justification of somebody that you highlight and idolize as far as this crazy person, how you could easily switch and flip on them based off of something that it could be something small, or it could be a conversation, or it could be just like how you change your own mind throughout the as we see him progress in the movie. So him trying to kill him wasn't necessarily that off-putting or like that confusing. To me, it was just like I was expecting, based off the legacy of this movie, that he actually got the job done. This nigga didn't even get close. So that's what pissed me off. I was just like, wait, hold on. This nigga just ended up in the parking lot, like, and then getting chased off, and it was just like, oh, okay, so you did all that for what? You know, that's what it wasn't no payoff for me for like him working out, him getting the gun, him doing all this training, the whole who you talking to me type shit. It just seemed like that's why I harken back to the scene where he killed the black guy. I was like, so you did all that just to not even commit do the number one thing you wanted to do or that you were practicing to do? It was just kind of like, okay, that's it.
Anybody else? I honestly don't even know if it was about the politician itself. I think it might have had something to do with Betsy and him having just being jealous of that whole situation. So maybe it had more. Maybe that overtook the policy stuff. Like I said, I just that part I've never kind of grasped as to why he would try to risk killing the politician.
That's what I've always taken. Oh, go ahead, Spike.
Listen, I agree with Nick. I was let down. I thought that this was the payoff of the movie. I thought that something was going to happen here, whether him shooting especially as, like you said, Nick, as popular as this film is, I'm thinking either he's going to shoot the dude or get shot or killed here. I didn't know that there was another payoff coming.
And then he also, like, he wrote the letter to Iris, put some money in the mail. He was like, listen, by the time you read this, I'm gone. So I'm like, all right, he about to go cash out, like, you know what I'm saying, going crazy with it. So I
always took it as this was him just trying to get back at Betsy, and this was one of the ways he knew how. I don't think that Travis was even interested in Palatine at all. He just happened to get in this cab, and he had just happened to be dating Betsy, and he was just starting to just kind of put on airs and was like, "Oh, you're the guy," and just trying to do what he can to win her affection. And she just happened to work for him, so he was like, "Oh my God, you're in here," and that's why I think he gave such a crazy sort of weird answer about what he can do to help clean up the city. And once he lost Betsy, it was like, all right, well, you still work for him, and I'm going to take you out because that's the one way that I can hurt her, because I can't hurt her any other way. And but what I do love about this scene was, of course, the reveal of the Mohawk. Like, that shit is always dope to me. Like, you just see like his midsection, and it just stayed there for a minute, and then it boom, be like, oh, this motherfucker is gone. At this point, it's a wrap. It's over. He's deteriorated. And that's a wrap. And I think that the way his character evolved over time, but you're also having evidence of this being present all the time. But there are things that he's holding on to that keeps him attached to reality. And when you remove those things, it could send somebody spiraling in a way that they never intended. And we see that stuff depicted in this movie. And up to the point where he completely transformed his image, and there have been many conversations, article discussion about when people start shaving their hair and stuff like that. It's all present in this movie.
Yeah. I've always took it as him taking out Palatine was always about Betsy. It was never really about Palatine. If he takes out Palatine, he gets Betsy back. That's what his brain is telling him, because Betsy is being controlled by Palatine. Now, where I disagree with Nick and Spike is it would have been wholly unrealistic for him to show up at that rally and be able to just kill the senator / presidential candidate, because we see that he has Secret Service there. I think because the thing about it is he wasn't practicing all of that "you looking at me" shit for Palatine, because that wouldn't even really make any sense. Like, why would he be saying to Palatine, "You looking at me? You looking at me"? No, he was practicing for what happens later at the convenience store. He was looking to shoot someone, not necessarily Palatine at the moment, but just some poor person he knew he'd get away with. in this moment, he thought if he could kill Palantine, he would get Betsy back. That's how I've always taken it. But after the failed assassination attempt on Senator Palantine, Travis goes back to the brothel where Iris works and he kills Sport. Sport, played by Harvey Keitel. Real quick, what did y'all think of this scene?
I thought Harvey Keitel did a great job of this movie.
You're talking a lot of shit too, Nick.
Once he flicked the cigarette on him, I was like, "Oh, this nigga dead." I was waiting for his ass to get popped ever since that. But yeah, I fucked with his portrayal of a character. Not fucked with liked it, but it's just like I thought he gave a real honest take about like what it's like to be in that work at that time. And even going back to his weird scene with Iris where he got that one fingernail that was painted and shit like that, when he over here like being intimate with her, which was nasty as hell. Like it was like this guy is like a crazy creep in itself. But yeah, this scene was hilarious, Mike. This scene was hilarious, especially when that fat motherfucker who he gave the money to the first time he was with Iris, he shot his hand and he was just screaming.
Y'all gonna take my notes.
My bad. I'm just saying this whole scene was just this is where like I get Scorsese has always done this in movies where he just does the exaggerated scene like death and shootouts and shit like that. So I fuck with this.
Spike.
Same here. Like when he flicked the cigarette on him, like Nick said, so he's gonna kill him. When is he gonna kill everybody else in here? Like how extreme is this gonna be?
Rod.
No, that's It's a well executed scene.
Damn, y'all not saying what I want you to say, Ken.
You asking about the shootout?
The first shootout.
Say it.
The first shootout.
I want to go. I want to let y'all to get your shit off. I'm just the host.
I went 31 minutes in.
That ain't my fault.
Yeah,
that ain't my fault.
I think for me, what I've always liked about the pimp, and you guys gave me new information I didn't know. I always loved the idea that the guy was white, and it really felt good to see that, instead of it being your stereotypical black person. So I'm glad they did change that. So that's always been, a thought that I've had about it. Just seeing that guy, Harvey Keitel, being white.
So I'm the only one that was really impressed by the acting performance here by Robert De Niro after he shoots him. The fact that he goes over and he panics immediately. He goes over and he sits down and then he immediately gets back up and he's just like looking around. Then he goes inside. Like I've always thought that this part was fucking brilliant. Because if he just shot him and then just walked away cool, like no big deal, again, it would feel unrealistic. But the fact that he shoots him and then he's like, oh shit, I really just did that. And then he goes and he sits on the fucking stairs right by him for like a few seconds. And he gets up and he's just like, I can't stay here. And then he's like, well, fuck it, I may as well just go kill everybody. And then he goes inside. That's what I was getting at, Rod.
I said it was a well executed scene.
Man. All right, we're going to speed this up. So he goes in the hallway and he shoots the bodyguard and then he ends up getting shot in the neck. He kills Sport. Then he kills the John that's upstairs with Iris, right in front of Iris. Why do y'all think he tried to kill himself afterwards? Anybody can take this. Not everybody has to go, but anybody can throw this out if they have an answer.
I thought that was the original plan from trying to shoot. I want to say Palpatine, but Palantine. Yeah, like I thought that was his. Like he knew he was gonna die. This was his send off or whatever for him to be remembered as this whatever. So I thought he always had like a suicide kind of mindset.
Same here. I thought that he knew that he had messed up. That he knew that he couldn't handle the consequences of what he had just done. Kind of speaking to what you said about him being like a mess as soon as he shot the pimp. And then he thinks, okay, well, I might as well go all out. And then you do it. And he's like, all right, I can't deal with the consequences of this. And kills himself, tries to kill himself.
Yeah, I this was one scene I never really fully got. I just always assumed he wanted to go out like a martyr. But I never really got why he did all this. And then he was immediately just like, okay, well, I'm going to kill myself. Like, maybe he thought his job was done because he did save Iris. I don't know. But what did y'all take from the scene right after this with the cops come and they're all holding the gun on him, and then he does this with his bloody finger on his temple? What did y'all take from that?
He wanted to die. That's what I thought.
I've never
That's
really
what I like
either.
Yeah, I thought he wanted to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either. I don't know.
I've always taken like he was done at that point. He wanted to die, but I've never really gotten a full answer as to why he wanted to die.
You know what? The black guy did the whole finger pointing thing at him earlier.
And that's why I've never believed that actually happened. I think that's just what Travis saw, because it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they call him killer or whatever, but the fact that he's just doing over and over, it's just like, why is this black dude being so weird? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you acting like that? But I don't think that really happened. I think that's just what Travis saw.
Yeah,
you're shaking your head, Rob. What you got?
I think the same. I mean, because he clearly let him borrow money and everything, so he was cordial with him.
Right.
So it makes sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he was cordial with him, but Travis still saw danger in this black man. That's how I've taken it. All right. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say last thing. Again, last funny moment when the dude he shot they was fighting like toddlers at the ground. He was like, "I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill you!" I was like, "Please shoot him!"
I never understood that shit.
It took too long for him to die.
Bad acting.
Yeah, maybe that's realistic.
But I mean, somebody shoot half your hand off, you gonna try to kill him, bro. Fuck that.
But he was mad. He probably needed that hand, Mike.
Yeah.
He chased him upstairs though, Mike. I'm thinking like, all right, this guy's crazy. Let me get the fuck up out of here. He chased his ass upstairs, tackling him. I'm talking about, I'm gonna kill you. Just swinging on him like this. Like, I'm like, come on.
But he's also a bodyguard, and I bet you no one has fucked with him like that. Like, think about it. He shot half his hand off, and he shot him in the side or whatever. And the dude still had the power to run upstairs and fight.
And he stabbed him in the hand too that he shot.
Oh yeah, and he stabbed him in the hand too.
Oh man.
This motherfucker was crazy. So last scene, Travis goes into a coma due to his wounds, and he receives a letter from Iris's parents who tell him that she's doing much better and she's back in school. But the movie basically ends with Travis going back to work. He gets Betsy as a ride, who tells him that she's kept up with the situation, and he drops her off but refuses to take any of her money, and he drives away with a smirk. What did y'all take from the ending?
I couldn't believe he
bad going. She went all the way back when his image has been repaired, and she realized she messed up, that maybe he wasn't so bad after all, and she just tried to get back in his good grace, but he was like, "Nah, you messed up." He said, "You had your shot, and it's over." And I think the other thing I was thinking about, Nick, you know how you always say white man luck. Only a white man can fail at killing a person and then turn out to be a hero, bro.
Bruh, those newspaper clippings pissed me. This end of the movie damn near pissed me off. But I will agree with your first point, Ken, and Louis and Rod, you know what I'm talking about. This reminded me of Mike Jones. Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hot. Because that nigga, he felt like $1 million when she got in that cab and he let her walk away like, I don't even need your ass no more. Go home. Like, but going back to the point of the fact that he was a hero. Like the parents of the girl was like, listen, we only can afford to go back to New York once just to pick her up. We wish we'd come back more to even thank you. Like, and the whole city is going behind him and everything. He grew his hair out again like Samson. I'm just like, man, it's some bullshit.
Yeah, this ending, I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe that that's how they would end a movie like this. I don't think that, like, oh, everything's wrapped up nicely and he gets the girl and he gets to drive off after being a fucking psychopath for an hour and a half. Like, no, it didn't make any sense to me. And then I seen the theory behind it, so it made more sense.
Did everybody go? Rod, did you say your piece?
I didn't say my piece, but I can agree with Nick here. It is in real life, it's it's really messed up. But I think in the idea of the movie, I liked it at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting him to live off a neck shot. I think he got shot in the neck or something.
Yeah, I thought it went through his neck at first.
Yeah.
He
But
died,
it
man.
just nicked him.
He
Yeah.
died.
Oh,
He didn't
They
live. He
showed
died.
a scar at the end, didn't they?
He died.
Yeah,
That
they
was in his
did.
head. The theory is that was in his head because we see this obscure view of reality that he always had, like you said, Mike. This is how he would have wanted it to end, but in actuality, he died in that brothel.
So he created a scar on his neck in his
That was fake. Yeah, that was
yeah,
fake.
because he had a scar.
That was fake. It was that
Oh,
was
no.
fake. So think about,
No, Spike.
think
Nah.
about it.
Why would he would have been
If
in a
he's
coma?
laying-
I don't have to think about it anymore.
If he's laying
Why would
there
it- why would
dying,
it-
if he's laying there
Why-
dying and he's dreaming about, oh, I make it through this, I survived this, his neck's still gonna have the scar on it because it's in his head. He actually got shot. He just didn't live.
But they said he was in a coma.
That was in his head.
No, it was in a paper, wasn't it?
He's saying everything after.
He
Yeah,
dreamed all of that.
yeah. Once
Like,
the
he's
cops,
seen
Oh, so he thought this was
He
a
died.
dream sequence. This
yeah,
is the whole,
the ending
this
is
whole part of the
Everything post the brothel is him dreaming how the perfect way it would have ended. But he actually died there.
Yeah, that's definitely a theory because if you watch through to the very, very end, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. But when he drives off, it makes it seem like, oh, happily ever after. And then he looks up and he adjusts the mirror, and then the movie ends. So there's this piece where it's telling you, yeah, you think everything is sweet and it ended in this happily ever after way, but no, Travis is still crazy. So I've had the same theory that Spike just threw out, which is either he died in that brothel or he's still in a coma. But that ending did not fucking happen. Where Betsy just shows up where he is and gets in his taxi. That didn't happen. It doesn't even make any sense that she would say the thing that she was saying in the taxi. I've been watching this, and I watched what you did, and no, man, no fucking way. Even after I'm sure she knew by that point that a crazy motherfucker with a goddamn mohawk showed up and tried to kill Palantine. And I'm sure she could put two and two together and say, oh, that was him. Mm-hmm. So there's no way she would go back to his taxi, get in his fucking car and be like, oh, yeah, I heard what you did. You the shit, bro. We should hang out later. No. Mm-hmm. This is Travis making up what he thinks the perfect scenario for an ending to this story is.
And Rod, imagine if the story went with the original script, like Lou said, and it was all black people that he killed, and he was the hero.
They said the studio, man, that would have been crazy. They said the studio was
crazy.
scared that it would be like riots, like real riots, if they played it out that way for real. So that's why they recast everybody in the brothel.
I don't know. I think it was real, and I think what I do agree with you though, Mike, is when he looked in the mirror, had that startling thing. I think that was showing that yes, this is real, but this motherfucker is still
crazy.
a lunatic.
He still got that dog in him.
Yeah, and he's gonna snap back at some point to get rid of the so-called filth again, and all is not well with him. But for right now, he's safe.
Yeah, I felt that scene with her in the back seat and her talking. Granted, like some of the dialogue, I felt like early in this movie was kind of, they didn't really have that much chemistry, but I guess they shouldn't because he's crazy. But it just felt awkward. I was like, why the fuck would she say this? Why the fuck, like you said, Mike, why would she come all the way 180 from thinking he's a creep to like, oh, I'm now back in love with him, or I find interest in him?
And how she know which taxi is his? Because she just walked up and got in the car, and the dude was like, oh, you got somebody in your car. How would she know what taxi is his? Like, the movie's not written poorly to where we could be like, oh yeah, it's just bad writing and it just carried on through the end. No way. The ending, if this was all real, the ending would be one of the most poorly written endings for a good movie ever done, because it doesn't make sense that she would just walk up like, oh, this must be Travis's taxi. What? How did she get there? She walked to where his job was or where the diner was and just knew he was there? None of it makes any sense. But it does make sense if you're looking at this from the unreliable narrator that Travis has been throughout this entire film. So,
I'm with Ken.
Huh?
I said I'm with Ken. I think it was real.
I don't care what you want. No, you know what? I would not argue with you or Ken because there's not enough here for me to say that my theory is really, super sound. So I wouldn't even argue with y'all. It could be real, but to me, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. But it could be real. But
if it's real, it's not as good as me. It's good to me.
Yeah, to me, it's ain't. Yeah, this film ain't.
You can't be like that in a film for an hour and then walk away with like, oh yeah, oh happy day. Like, nah, get out of here.
Shit,
I agree,
I don't see
100%.
White people in movies.
Yeah, but this movie, in my opinion,
This movie was different. That's what made this good. That's what made it better to me. Like, I probably would have had a different opinion on it had I not looked at the stuff that broke it down and was like, no, this is what actually happened. Because as I was looking at that and he's driving away, I'm like, ain't no fucking way that they did that.
Yeah, I agree. The last thing I'll say, I definitely agree with what Spike just said. This movie is very different. It's not written in that white people are heroes kind of way. Again, if this was, if Lena Waithe wrote it, I might be with y'all. But I don't think it was written to imply that white people just get away with everything. So I would not believe that he was able to go up in there, shoot all of those people, and then the cops just be like, yeah, let him go. Nah, I think.
But they were all criminals, though. They were all criminals.
You still can't just go up shooting.
You can't just go kill people, Rod.
No. Why are we going to tell you this?
He was like, they criminal.
That's right. That's right. That's right. As a lawyer, Mike.
Right.
But he was a bad guy.
Right. He was a bad guy. There's bitches and sluts and shit.
Right. He was going to save a child. He was going to save a child, Your Honor.
No.
That was my reasoning the first few times I watched it, but then I was just like, nah.
And she was real quick. I know we're closing out, but Jodie Foster, she was 12, but her sister played the double in those, provocative scenes.
Okay, cool. That's good.
So now you don't feel bad about looking at him being like, damn.
Well, the sister was only 18, but 18 or 19. So.
I'm just wondering why that information was needed because it was gross either way.
Yeah.
He was trying to make one of y'all feel better.
First of all, Jodie Foster ain't never do it for me, let alone a 12-year-old.
Right, I ain't never seen Jodie Foster.
For real.
Damn, so don't look good as a child. So.
Right. That's one of the most uncomfortable things about this film. But anyway, anybody got? Well, Spike, you want to go ahead and give any final thoughts so you can jump out of here?
I'm glad we reviewed this. I had never seen it. I always heard about De Niro's performance, and I was skeptical in the beginning. But as it got into it, I understood the complexity of the movie. I like Nick said, how New York was a character in the movie. So I got it once I watched it. I may not hold it in high regard as people do that call it a classic, but I totally understand the sentiment.
Okay.
I think y'all ruined this movie for me.
Wait, hold on. Spike, you can jump, but anybody else want to give their final thoughts?
Oh, Rob
I was saying. Yeah.
Rod. Sorry.
I think us reviewing this has ruined this movie for me. I don't know if I like it as much anymore after this.
What? Why? What could we have said that ruined it for you?
I never because thinking about the things that they probably had to change, and now looking back, that was weird with the black folks in this. And they just, I don't know. I feel like they made a pivot to satisfy the audience. So looking back at some of the stuff, I don't know. I don't know if I like it as much. I don't know if I like it as much.
Leave it to a Tarantino fan to be mad that they made the movie less racist.
No, Mike, I think he just didn't have his Koofy hat on when he watched.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he was like, hold on, this actually fucked up.
Because I appreciate them making the movie less fucked up for black people. And actually taking into I appreciate them taking into account that black folks would have gotten really upset if they made everybody black.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea. I think it's just. I feel like this is already running.
I guess you're saying the fact that they even had to change it is a problem for Raw.
That ain't what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
that ain't what he's saying.
all right, I'm out.
All right, Spike.
No,
All right, bro.
I was actually surprised, Mike, that when watching this movie and watching the opening credits, that Martin Scorsese didn't write this movie, that he just directed it. So so that changed my mindset a little bit as far as like, okay, how much can I put on the script and the story on him versus me just like separating, like just look at the direction, how the characters are portrayed. Like he did a great job, especially for the late 70s. Again, the grit and feel of the movie is amazing, but again, like the story doesn't live up to the hype to me. That's why I say it's a no for me. Not to say this is a horrible film, but it's just like, to me, it's just not as good as what I thought it would be. The only thing that I really will take from it is that the bones of this movie, the structure, the foundation of it has been used so many times by so many different directors, so many different films, that you have to give it credit as something that is a classic. But yeah, it's just outside of that, like rewatching this, I don't even know who I would let watch this if I was at the crib.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think it changes my perception of the movie, with him being potentially racist or the portrayal of Black people. It's funny because I watched Robert De Niro was in another movie by Brian De Palma, Greetings, that I watched after this because I was just kind of looking at Robert De Niro's, like what he did before that. And I watched that, and you watched that movie.
Film? Is that the one where he's like... Is that the one where he's like, there's like gay prostitutes or whatever? Or am I thinking of a different movie?
It's a comedy, but he wasn't trying to go to war. They were trying to get out of war. Yeah, it's a really weird movie. But in that one, like their portrayal of all the things that are typically viewed as negative nowadays is present in the beginning because they talk about, gay people and Black people. They used the N-word a couple of times in the beginning. Like the guy went to start a fight so he wouldn't go with Black people so he can get out of going to war. And then there's all kind of weird things happening in that movie around that time. And this was like a couple of years before this. So, it seems in line with it, but there wasn't an overabundance of the word that was being used, and it was in a specific context of the movie, and then they kind of walked away from it. Same thing with this one. Like we heard that word, we mainly heard the word spooks and the N-word once or twice at that in a movie with a lot of Black people around and a seemingly racist, So I think it did a good job, if that's the case of him being racist, portraying that in a way that isn't too over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, reviewing it with y'all definitely didn't change my opinion on this film. I think it's an incredible film. I am curious to read the stuff that Spike found about the original cast being Black. I don't think I ever knew that, so that's really interesting. But I appreciate that they thought twice about how fucked up that would look. Even if they did have the right mindset in place of, look, Travis is racist. Because Spike said he also saw that they said that Travis was going to be more overtly racist. I just don't think that would have made the movie as good, in my opinion. If Travis was just running around, I hate niggers and killing Black people, it'd been like, all right, bro, I'm good on this. It probably wouldn't have been a classic. But the way that they wrote Travis, the way that they wrote the characters around him, his weird motivations, and just the really interesting way that they shot this film, I think it was great. I think this movie is absolutely great. So yeah, so that's going to do it for us. Let us know what y'all thought about this review. And shit, this shit was an hour and 40 something minutes. Y'all motherfuckers better talk about this motherfucker. All right. So we will see y'all next time. We out. Peace.
Peace.